Welcome to another episode of Mastering E-commerce Marketing. Today, I'm excited to introduce our guest, Jennifer Sutton, the founder of Bright Marketing. With over 3 decades of experience in the agency world, Jennifer has worked with some of the biggest brands out there. Jennifer brings a unique perspective on how to effectively connect branding, marketing, and advertising in today's fast-paced digital environment. In this episode, we explore Jennifer's journey from working with large agencies to launching her own firm, focusing on a more holistic approach to helping businesses thrive. We'll touch on the significant shifts in the marketing landscape due to technology and how agencies can still provide that crucial human touch, especially in the creative process. Jennifer shares her thoughts on the importance of understanding your brand's message and positioning before jumping into tactics. We discuss the role of data in making smarter marketing decisions and the need for businesses to recognize their strength and not just follow competitors blindly. We'll also chat about work-life balance and how Jennifer manages to stay grounded while juggling her responsibilities as a founder and a mom. So if you're looking to refine your marketing strategy or simply want to gain some wisdom from Jennifer's extensive experience, stay tuned. There's a lot to learn, and I'm sure you'll find this conversation as engaging as I did. Welcome to the Ecom Pulse, your heartbeat to the world of e-commerce. I'm your host, Eitan Koter. Join us as we meet with industry leaders, marketing experts, and the innovative minds behind the tech that is shaping the e-commerce future. So plug in, gear up, and get ready for a pulse-pounding journey into the heart of e-commerce. Hey Jennifer, how are you? Welcome to the show.
Hi, Eitan. Nice to see you and nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I know we've been planning this and obviously discussed some of the topics we want to chat today.
Yeah.
So overwhelmed and positively with your energy and excitement about the business and the industry. So where is this energy coming from?
Well, I love the business. I've been doing this for 30 years. I call myself a serial agency person because I literally have been in the agency space working with large agencies across the U.S., working on, national brands, big global brands. And then a little over a decade ago, decided, let me open up my own shop. I think we can serve the business community in a better way through a holistic, more dot-connected, agile way to help brands. And especially understanding the frameworks between branding, marketing, and advertising. And I just love it. It's always changing. And I love problem solving, and my team loves problem solving. So that's just keeps us energized. We're never bored.
That's wonderful. Obviously, any D2C business out there needs to work with agencies, right? Because every aspect of the business is getting more and more complicated and requires expertise, both on the back-end side of things, but also definitely on the marketing side of things.
Yes.
So from your perspective, how this industry of agencies has evolved throughout the years? What are some of the processes? Maybe the technologies, obviously technology changed a lot, but
technology is changing. Yeah. And it really, technology is just helping, to me, creative teams or planning teams maybe work a little bit more efficiently. But I don't think any of the technology from an AI perspective has replaced any from a creative, human brain when it comes to really thinking through brand planning, visual identity, kind of structure and design, or even advertising frameworks. It might help in the versioning, or might help with ideating some topics for blogs, but the voice, the tone, and those just cannot be replaced with the human. Our brains cannot be replaced for that with AI. But what we have seen technology really explode and help us is on the media side. My background is media planning and buying. So, some of the technology that we can put on websites that we can use to really do lead generation, media buying way quicker. I mean, I think I told you like the planning, the method to think through where should you advertise, the strategy, that's not going to be replaced. I mean, you still need a human brain to kind of sort through those things. But the buying part the tools have just gotten better. So we can be, quick. We've got data at our fingertips that we never had before. A lot of our stuff was being tracked manually decades ago.
Mm-hmm.
But now we've got attribution models that are literally at our fingertips. So then we buy smarter every month, and we can do a lot of good predictions and accurate estimates of, with this money, we can pretty much, guarantee that we're going to get these results based in these industries. I mean, that's what our technology has allowed us to do.
Yeah, interesting. So you say, if I hear you correctly, you say that media planning, media buying haven't changed a lot, right, throughout the years. It's in terms of the process, in terms of the way you implement it, you get some feedback and improve the agility of things. What has stayed the same and what has changed?
Yeah, I think the fundamental aspect of like understanding media planning framework, which is, again, branding is that what is your message? What, how do you define your brand, your company from the aspect of the customer that you're trying to, whether it's your customer or your category that you're trying to market into. Marketing is really the how is that message being conveyed, and then the advertising is where do you need your message to show up to educate, inform, inspire, motivate people to act. And I think the planning aspect has gotten muddy over the last few years of just people kind of going, I can open up a shop and I do SEO. And so now it's like I talk to business owners that are like, we need SEO. And I'm like, no, you actually are entering in a new category. You need demand gen, right? You don't have anybody in market searching for you at the moment. Yeah. So we do need a foundation, but let's put our time, money, and energy because it's not unlimited, right? Every business has some budget that they have, whether it's this is the money I have for marketing. Some people equate that of this is the money I have to hire somebody. I think there's been I think agencies as the pendulum has swung. I mean, you look at some of the biggest companies, the largest companies, they outsource their advertising, their marketing. They have very, very small teams in-house. And so it's amazing to me when you have like a company that has 30,000 employees or they're, 200 employees, but they're a big tech company and they're generating, 250 million or $500 million. And they're trying to bring all of this marketing in-house. And I'm like, why? Apple didn't do it. Coca-Cola doesn't do it. Like all the big companies outsource it because there's a reason. We are, agents, good agencies, legitimate agencies know, like we see all the data. We understand the frameworks. So when I see a company that's like a 10-person company and they're like, I need to hire a director of marketing. I'm like, no, you don't. You need to outsource it. Go to a fractional team. Go because that's what an agency does. We're fractional marketers, teams for hire that we can come in, and I think that's where we look at it and go. Whether you're hiring, using labor as your investment, and then you have to advertise. But to us, it's like that's $1 amount. What do we do with that money? And where should it be spent? Is it in, we've got the market, there's a lot of people in market, like searching and active. Well, we've got the data to be able to see who's in market actively. Are they already on Instagram searching? Are they already on Facebook searching for your category of products? Or are they in Google? Or are they in YouTube? I mean, that's kind of an in market. And in most categories, there's only like 5%, maybe 10% in the big market searching in your category. So then it's like, okay, how do we define our planning? Where do we put our time, money, and resources? And that's where, you look at things from a, you know, message to media of, I've got very little people know my name, or I need them to have my name and my why and my what. You can't do a lot of that in a digital banner. You can't do a lot of that just on a little post. So sometimes if you've got to push people to consider and prefer you, you've really got to consider what media outlets allow you to do that in the most efficient way. And that's media planning framework of like, how do we where do we need to convey our message? Where do we need to put our time, money, and resources to generate the most, whether it's awareness, whether that's consideration, whether that's preference, or literally, I need leads. And what outlets, places do we need to do that? And those decision frameworks have not changed in 30 years. Just we have the data at our fingertips to be able to make those decisions quicker. And then when you do start running and placing things, you can look at the data to go, all right, this is working. Or do we need to pivot? You can do that within 30 days, 45 days to see if what your data was telling you is accurate.
Yeah.
Versus, the old school days of, when you do plan, you would build an annual plan and then you would work the plan, but you would really go, okay, well, I'll do analysis at the end of the year, or maybe after a 6-week or 8-week campaign. And let's pivot for the next 8 weeks. That's where technology has allowed us to move a lot quicker to go. We've got more data than we've ever known what to do with. So you need somebody like a good agency to know what data is the right data to look at to be informed. And then when you place something and you put it out there, is it working? And you can just pivot so much more quickly in today's landscape.
Yeah, I mean, totally agree. I mean, we are in a fractional everything era, right? So just outsourcing, and usually those are some of the most expensive line items, right? All the marketing staff and CMOs, and so why and data, right? So from one end, you need that expertise to come from somewhere through the agencies, and you need the data to take a smarter decision to analyze what's going on, and you need this type of expertise, and you're getting it so complicated with all these communities that are evolving. Like you have the Instagram community, and now you have TikTok, and you have all the Amazon, and you have your amazingbrand.com ecosystem. So it's all just getting more and more complex, more siloed, let's say. Yeah.
And it's very scientific. I was talking to a client yesterday who was just, I just feel like we need to have some social presence. I'm not ready for leads. I just want to, kind of crawl a little bit. And we said, well, there's some things that we need to do for your website. There's some foundation, search engine optimization, the on-site, just
the technical aspect of the pages and the foundational things.
Yeah. And he's like, I didn't even realize there was a science behind it. And there's a method. And same with social, those algorithms change all the time. Instagram is like, use 25 hashtags. Now it's only used 7. Now we're back to 20 hashtags. And, Twitter is, you need to do 4 to 5 tweets a day, and you need to have 2 or 3 threads a week. And those things change. So it's, everything is, much more scientific that I think people appreciate and recognize. And, it's not just take some pretty pictures and just post them. It's that doesn't exist anymore. Right? Yeah. It's,
there's always this drive that if your competitor, is doing something, you want to do it as well, right? This will never change. But
and I would say that's a warning too. But don't plan your marketing and don't plan based on what your competitor is doing. Sure. You know what your strength is, or you should. You know how you want to be positioned. You should know what your message is. And then if you're intentional, you should know where are you going to convey that message. Everything should be done with, intentionality. If you feel like you're chasing the competitors, that means you don't have a smart plan. So you need to then consult agencies like ours, like to get that just smart people to help you dissect all of those aspects of the planning frameworks so that you're not wasting time, money, and energy on crap that doesn't work. Stop chasing the competitor. That's never a good strategy.
Yeah. Yeah. Amazing, Jennifer. You also call yourself famous movie junkie, right? So, I mean, storytelling is so important. How this passion, help you in your decision making and analyzing, processes?
Yeah, I mean, when I think of marketing as the larger kind of business framework, it's a blend of art meets science. There's a lot of science in that, the data, the methods of how you break things down. What data should you be looking at? How do you play with the algorithms to game, to generate the leads or the results you want? But the art of it is how is it conveyed visually? How do you talk about the brand from a storytelling perspective and that narrative? And movies and TV, there's a formula to like an episodic TV series. Mm-hmm. There are formulas of like, you've got your plot A, you've got your plot B, you've got your C plot, you've got your series arc plot. And how do those work episode to episode? A movie is a start to finish, but there is a formula for even building a movie. And where do you hit that peak? And, they call it the hero's journey of like, who's going to play the hero, the protagonist, who's the antagonist. So even there's a method and a science to that, but it's so much art of in the words and the language on the screen of what are they trying to make sure that they tell you that you're picking up, set design, the costuming, the actors of how they convey those characters. I mean, so much art that goes into it. It is not dissimilar to building a brand. And, if you think of, the what is a brand, that brand story is, again, it's that why it's the character, who I am. How do I want to be defined? How do I want to be seen? The visual identity, the logo, the look of, your website, how you're conveying that, that's what that actor or that character might wear. And in the scenery and the setting that they're in. And how do you start visually conveying what your brand is all about? But it's the combo of the two. And so I think branding and storytelling is so much related to the movie and TV industry. And it's just fun to kind of go in and look at it through different lenses of from cinematography to the writing and the character building. Yeah.
Yeah. And obviously on the other side of the spectrum, you have TikTok with 30 seconds videos that, need to capture your attention within, 1.7 seconds. I think this is the attention span that we have, right? So
what is it? The next generation, with the Gen Z, they can't even listen to a full song. It's like they can only go like 45 seconds. They can't even listen to a full minute of a song now. And it's like, coming from a generation of, oh my gosh, well, don't go listen to an old Led Zeppelin or even like a Dave Matthews when he goes for a 20-minute.
Yeah. Like a Bohemian Rhapsody type of thing, right? Yeah. So, TikTokification is something that is influencing the industry a lot, right? So, going to from a more like high production, polished type of content. Doesn't matter if it's video, text, or audio, like podcasting, but going to something which is more authentic, more immediate, has a great impact. I mean, it's important. I mean, both formats are growing for sure, but
absolutely
they are important in this holistic marketing that we've been discussing.
That's right. And to be consistent. I mean, there's ways that I think a lot of brands do it wrong on TikTok. Like they're just throwing something out there to go, ooh, let me get viral. The problem is it's a fleeting moment, right? So they might get 500,000 views, but nobody knows, there's no recall, right? Of because we've heard that of like, I did this huge video or, this TikTok. I haven't seen any traffic. I haven't gotten one sale from it. It's like, well, of course not. You didn't even there was no relevancy to, to your brand, to the category. Nothing should result to, web traffic. And it was inconsistent with the brand. Ones that do it right, it's all, it's very intentional. It's like, what's our brand story? How do we want to use TikTok versus let me come up with something fun on TikTok and hope it works. Let's look at it from our audiences on TikTok. This is where we need to spend our time and energy. So let's find some ways that really conveys our brand in a fun, playful way in those short formats that generate that attention, but absolutely the recall so that we do get leads, direct sales that are coming off of that. And those are the results that we see. But we do get clients that come in and go, I've done this, or I went to a TikTok agency but I saw no results from it. And I'm like, why would you think you would see results from that?
I mean, consistency is very, very important. Understanding where you are in the marketing funnel, right? Are you in awareness? Are you into consideration or decision? Building the right content types for each one of those stages. And
where your audience is. We had a client that came into us and he's like, I'm not seeing anyone. We've been doing TikTok or we've been doing, Instagram. And we were like, your audience isn't there. Like I hired a marketing director. They were very familiar with Instagram. So it became that's versus going again. That's that planning framework of where is your audience? Who are you trying to reach? Find the places to reach them in the most efficient way. So it's just doing homework of looking to go, you know what, your audience is actually on, LinkedIn and YouTube. So that's where you need to spend we need to spend our time, money, and energy. And even understanding of, and you know this from doing the podcast, the shorts and the playlists. That is one audience group on YouTube versus the long form videos that's a different audience.
Yep.
Those don't usually correlate. So just really understanding where you're conveying your message, how do you want to relate to your audiences, and how do you show up? Those disciplined process of thinking has not changed in 30 years. It's just how you use these tools and then whether you need to spend money in hiring an agency based on time or activity to perform on those platforms, or we need to pay money to officially advertise on those platforms. But that's where we see most companies kind of get it wrong.
Yeah.
They're going, this is the trend or the fad, or I've heard, or it's based on a really inexperienced person that they've hired to be a marketing manager or director of marketing that has never had really a holistic view of how media works, how marketing frameworks works, or how branding works. And that's kind of where we see when we're getting hired, it's usually to do that kind of planning, to fix or course correct what somebody else has already put in place so that they are using their dollars way more intentionally and seeing better results. It's amazing when you put a plan in place and you work the plan and there's, you're informed by data, how well it performs.
Wow. But Jennifer, it seems that you are very good in probing those pain points, or what you call, where is the friction?
Yeah.
Where is the friction, right? I think this is a good theme for this episode. So how do you do that? Obviously, you're very experienced and you know how to ask the questions, but there is some kind of a process in place, or just, you need to scan through the operation of things.
So We do like I call it a discovery workshop with just so. And most agencies do this. We kind of take it and I look at it different aspects of it. I look at it. There are questions that I have, and our team has designed that really understands. Let's get at the brand and let's make sure that we understand the brand. And usually, when we're asking questions, like our art director, our copywriting team, our creative team, we can pick up pretty, quickly if there's no brand here. Like they have a logo, they have a visual identity. There is no definition of the what or the why. Because and you can see that right away of like, well, who do you want to target? Well, we're still trying to figure that out. Well, we need to figure it out. That's what a brand, like that's part of the brand story of what problem are you solving and who are you solving it for? How do you want to be positioned in the market? So those are the type of questions that we come in, and then we start looking through, where are you advertising today? What's worked? What hasn't worked? Send me any reports that you've, been given. We look under the hood. We look at the Google Analytics, their GA4. We look at their Google Search Console, which is amazing. A lot of companies don't even know what Google Search Console is. Even agencies who don't know how to look at Google Search Console. We have other tools to do audits, to just see what's their digital footprint, what's their presence, is it and then we start looking at it, going, wow, what you're doing on social doesn't look like anything you're doing on your website. Your website makes it sound like you're this type of company, but you said you're this type of company. So it's just kind of looking at it and dot connecting, and not just, digitally where they are, and has things worked or not, but what are they saying? And we try to put ourselves in, from a media consumption and an audience perspective of here's, we can go, you're trying to reach this category. Well, here's what this category looks like. Oh, you want to reach this type of person in that category. Here is the profiles and the personas of these people you are trying to market to. Your message is off, or you're not positioned right. We need to reposition. We need to define your what, because right now you're invisible. Like there's no connection. There's no relevance. There's no saliency around your brand. So, that's kind of how we attack it. And then when we get into the advertising of like trying to find the friction, it's, it really quickly, if we've got an advertising program going and it's to generate traffic that generates conversions, we're monitoring that all the way through the sales team, through a close. And, sometimes those cycles could be, especially if it's DTC, that could be a week, cycle, a day. If it's more in a B2B, like channel marketing, those sales cycles could be 90 days, 6 months, but we're monitoring that. And I always find it funny, we ask things like, what's your sales cycle? We note that. What's your, and then we look to go, when we're in it, is their sales cycle accurate? Because what we have found, and especially a lot of larger companies, people will put information in like CRM systems and pipeline that makes them look good. It's not necessarily accurate of what the activity is. So we're kind of confirming for the chief marketing officer or the chief operations officer or the CEO for like, okay, you said your sales cycle is 90 days. We're not seeing that. Or you said your close rate's 60%. Your close rate's more like 15%. Or, we're confirming to go, nope, you're right. You're tracking at 60%. So, we're trying to look at those data points and either confirming or finding, okay, you said it was 60%. We're seeing it much less than that. We're sending you business. You're spending money to get people that are in your door, and you're not able to close it. and we've also recorded your sales conversations and listen to them. They're not good. We need to probably do some scripts. So that's,
Okay.
That's kind of how we help the business all the way through. And kind of, we call closing the loop between marketing and sales. So
Yeah. So we have business leaders listening to us, and a lot of them, they don't have marketing background. Maybe they experienced in operation, in support, supply chains,
or product development, engineering.
And I found that people are really afraid of marketing, afraid of sales. They're really have a lot of hesitation to take some risk and understand what's going on. So, and we talked about branding, marketing, advertising. Let's try to define these three categories and what is the difference between them.
Yeah. So branding is what we would say the why you're in business. And then what message, what problem are you solving? Knowing what problem you're solving for a market, and then who would buy that? Like what pain points are you eliminating, or are you helping somebody gain something, right? Maybe you're helping, in this market or this person, they're gaining confidence, they're gaining freedom, whatever that is. But really understanding that why and the what, and so that helps us define the positioning, that helps us define our personas, that helps us define what segments we need to go into, who we need to target, all in that brand. That's really kind of, I call foundation business planning, right?
Yeah.
Marketing is really then how do we then structure the business to get this brand to come to life? So marketing framework is, think of that as your business management. How is the message in that brand going to come to life? To what culture do you want to? How are you going to recruit, retain your employees? How do you convince, if you are work with any kind of channel like a retail distributor model? How do you convey to them that they should be doing business with you? So it's all that, the people strategies, right? Who do you want to work? Who do you want to come work for you, and why? And then who do you want to do business with, and how do you, tell people to do business with? How do you want to be seen on what we call access? Is it your website? How is that conveyed? If you have a physical presence, like a bricks and mortar or an office space, how is that brand coming to life on the exterior, the interior? It's the, how do you, like, if you say that your brand is all about, we're the best customer service, do you have the right processes and operations in place, right? Do you have the right product mix? And how do we make sure that the product messaging matches the brand messaging? How do those things correlate? How are we describing those products for the sales team? Do they have their, collateral, their sales sheets, their scripts? And how are they going into market? Again, if it's more of a DTC and e-commerce, all of that needs to then be very representative on the website and your digital presence, whether that's on the web and social platforms, and make sure that's consistent. So all, if you do a bunch of events, how is that brand then represented, visually displayed? How is the story told? Then the advertising framework is the where. That is, where do I need to spend my time, money, and energy to educate, to inform, to promote, to inspire people to act? Which that's how we we want them to do something in the advertising, right? Either we're building our presence, right? We're just letting people know we exist, and we're building our brand, reputation, we're building our credibility, we're building trust. Or is it, no, I need people to I want people to consider us, and I want people to prefer us. I want people to buy from us. And so where are we putting that message? And sometimes we have to pay for that, right? Whether paid ads on Meta and Instagram, TikTok, Tumblr, or in like if you're B2B, maybe it's in trade magazines. If you're, hitting more of a, home decor, you're in Lux, some of these beautiful magazines like Lux or Home and Garden, Home Beautiful, and all of that. So, the advertising toolbox is huge from choices. But it's where is our audience? And that's where it comes with the targeting. Like, who is the lowest hanging fruit that we can generate the most efficient use of our time, money, and energy to generate the results that we need. Yeah. So let's go spend our time, money, and energy in those places in the where to get those results. And I don't think a lot of people, I've worked for a lot of companies. I'm like, well, what's your goal? Well, I think we should do direct mail. No, that's not what I asked you. Like, what's the goal? Well, I think we should do some meta ads. Or like, again, what's the goal? So I think you kind of said it. There are a lot of business owners that either intimidated with marketing or they sit with a marketing person and they immediately go to tactics. And it's like, tactics will come. Well, because they'll get easier to then define when you've done the where or the what and then the how. Then the where becomes so much easier to plan, because now it's like, oh, I've got to say these messages to this defined audience, and I know how I need to do it. Now, where's the best place to do it? So, like I said, it's amazing when you kind of work through those frameworks, those decisions become so much easier.
Oh, very interesting, Jennifer. It's one of the most comprehensive descriptions that I've heard lately. So really, thank you so much for that. So what are some of the tips that you can provide to marketeers out there?
Well, so don't chase your competitor.
Nice.
Yeah.
Make them chase you, right?
Let them chase you. That's right. Know your strengths. Understand, like I said, you've started a business or you've grown a business and scaled a business, or maybe you're running a business that you've been hired to do. There's a distinctive why behind that, and there's a distinctive what behind it. Don't be afraid to sit down and think through it. I guarantee you you will feel so much better about the choices you make than more downstream by just taking time to plan. And we're not talking about, this is not a 6-month process. This is like, working with somebody like us, we're doing a half day to a day workshop at the most, or a series of interviews. You're talking about a few weeks to get that defined. And if you the larger the company that's been around, because we do work with a lot of companies that are 60 years old and are just now kind of defining their brand. So it happens.
Wow.
But that means if they've been in the market, there's data out there that we can gather, right? We can look at customer satisfaction data, employee satisfaction data, what the market reactions are doing. There's the information becomes much richer to make some decisions in that branding, but don't be afraid to do it. And I think that's kind of the tips for, business leaders of, you are not alone by questioning am I getting out what I need to get out of marketing and sales? And if your gut is telling you something is off, trust your gut, because most likely there is like the discipline of the plan or the process to get to those choices probably haven't been done with credibility and depth.
Yeah.
So that's where those are the conversations I have with a lot of our clients. That's how it usually starts. I don't understand marketing and sales. I feel like we're just chasing stuff. I keep throwing money at it. I don't know if I'm making the right choice. I don't know if I have the right people in place. I've worked with agencies. I don't really like the agencies we work for. And and then we come in and like, well, I can see why. It's chaos. There's no method. And that's how it starts. Like, there's just my gut's telling me something's off. And 9 out of 10 times, their gut instinct was right. Something was not working. There's friction and sometimes it's not just like one thing of friction. There's a lot of friction going on. And so that's where a full service agency, which there's still a lot of us out. I mean, there's thousands of us out there. We look at things very holistically for businesses to go, let's help you then create some organization and structure to your chaos, and let's tackle the highest priority of friction. Because nobody has probably the amount of time, money, and energy to hit things all at once. Everybody has limited dollars. Everybody has limited resources and just energy to go through that. It's like, let's tackle this. And sometimes we have to do things in parallel paths, right? Hey, we got to keep this pipeline going, but we got to figure out how do we resolve some of these other issues. And sometimes our plans are 1 to 3 years, and we're pivoting and optimizing every month and just working towards but a lot of it is it's done with intentionality, and that would be my recommendation or my biggest tip to business leaders of trust your gut.
Nice. Look, the gut, trust your gut is like the accumulation of your life experiences,
right?
At the end of the day, right? So it's
and especially if you ask the question of like either it's your agency or if you have an internal team and you're like, why aren't we generating? Or I thought the results would be this. If they can't give you a really thoughtfully detailed answer with like some kind of data, or hey, this is a runway, like this is going to take 6 months or something. If you just get somebody that says, well, I don't know, that's just how it is, they're not the right team. Because there are answers. And so like I said, a lot of the business leaders that we hear, they're like, I knew it. Like I've been so frustrated because I ask these questions and I feel like I don't get good answers, or they get helicopter speak. People that are just like spinning and they can't answer the question. And it's because they probably also don't know. So yeah, trust your guts.
Sure. Jennifer, let's talk work-life balance. I think this is a very important topic to me. I try to discuss in my podcast, just doing things in a very successful way, but in a more sensitive way, I guess, taking into account, our wellness.
Yeah.
What do you do outside of work? How do you balance life?
So, yeah, well, I'm not very good. I'm working on it. I'm a work in progress. I think most founders and business owners, we're all a work in progress. But, I'm a mom of 4. When I started the company, my youngest was 2, my oldest was 13. Now they are, they're 13 and 24. And so I do a lot with the kids, activities and school and all of that. But for myself, over the last few years, I've realized I'm seeing my health not being very mindful of that. So I have started doing I walk. Like my doctor was like, you just need vitamin D. You need to go sit outside for 30 minutes just to have sunshine. Just to have, even if you have to go work outside, but just you need 30 minutes of sunshine once a day. So I've been doing the last couple of days, I'll go take a walk or I'll go sit outside. I do meet with a local peer group of other female founders, and we meet twice a month. One, we just sit and, sometimes it's over cocktails. Sometimes we go walk. And it's just a talk, whether it's venting on whatever the subject, but just relationships.
Very important. This community.
The community, community aspect of it. And then I meet with another group of female founders, and we do sound baths, which is the crystal bowl sound bath
Oh,
meditation. Wonderful. Like,
nice.
it's, it's an hour, and it, like, I swear it feels like it's 10 minutes. I mean, every time she's like, we're done, I'm like, what happened to that time? They're trying to do more of those things. Working on like yoga stretches. I do that weekly. So I'm trying to do better. I am on a path of weight loss and portion control, more water, all of that. But from a mental, like, routine activity too, because we get, I'll call, ghosts in our
Yep.
heads,
Mhm.
and declutter our mind a little
Yeah.
bit. I started this about a little over a year ago. It was a tip that I got from another founder, who said, look, because there are a lot of founders and entrepreneurs that journal. I'm like, I don't have time for that.
Yeah. It's a
But
therapeutic writing.
it's very
important.
therapeutic.
Yeah.
But what somebody was like, just jot down these 3 things before you go to bed at night. And I love it. It's I write down what was my greatest moment of joy in the day, and so I document that. And then what am I most anxious about? Like, that's still sitting with me. Maybe it was a bad meeting. Maybe I'm anxious for something that I've been stressing about that is coming up. But just document whatever brought me anxiety that day. Write it out, get it out of your system. And then the third is, what am I most looking forward to tomorrow? And it's just been like, when I reflect back on that journal, like, I flip through it sometimes and I'm like, God, the things that used to bring me anxiety 6 months ago doesn't anymore. Or it's like,
Wow.
oh, I love you. Like, oh, what I was most looking for, the tomorrow. Oh, that came true, or that didn't. Let me write that back, so it's been a fun, and easy exercise, but it really kind of emptied out my head. And then I've always used this tip. I tell even my team to do this. When you get a lot of stuff in your head, I call it, just take 5 minutes and just brain dump. And I'll do this usually once a week, sometimes daily, just depends on how much we've got going on. But I just literally write down everything that I've got going on. And I don't try to order it, as in it's not a to-do list. It's more of like, just, I'll call it it's more of a task list on crack, because but it's no rhyme or reason of, here's all the stuff that's going on, in my personal life, or these are things I got to do for as a mom. These are all things I got to do for this person on the team, or I need to do this for the client. And I just literally just get it all out of my head.
Yes.
And then I can look at it and go, okay, now how do I put it on my calendar and structure it? And then and then the other thing I would say, a tip is, that has helped, I use time blocking as a strategy, calendar blocking. And I try to calendar block out my year of, these are to prioritize the tasks and the things I need to do. And it's not micro task. It's more like, hey, I'm going to reserve Wednesdays for these activities. And I break up Wednesday days, but it's all grouped in like a theme. Friday is my content day for the business. Because we work with clients, so I don't get to do a lot of stuff for our business. So I'm like, this time on Fridays is just for this. So, that's how I try to bring calm to chaos, even for my own organization.
Very, very important. Wow, Jennifer, it's really impressive by any standards. Well done.
Well, thank you.
Definitely.
I'm a work in progress. Like, nothing.
Yes. It's always work in progress. Even small progress is just multiplying over time, right?
That's right.
So amazing. And thank you so much for sharing it. So how people can find you and the agency?
Yeah. So we're Bright Marketing. You can go to our website. It's gobrightnow.com. And that's BRIGHT. gobrightnow.com, or you can find me on LinkedIn. I'm Jennifer J. Sutton. My maiden name is Johns. And all the links are there. You could book an appointment from there. You can go to our websites, but we have all the links on my LinkedIn. So yeah.
Jennifer, thank you so much. It was really fascinating, interesting, and full of energy.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you for joining us on this episode. Your support means the world to us. If today's episode has been insightful for you, consider sharing it with someone who would also benefit. Even one share can make a big difference. Looking to elevate your e-commerce game? Discover Vimy, a multi-channel e-commerce platform that will transform your business with the power of shoppable video. Visit us at vimy.net to learn more. It's Vimy, VIMMI.net. Thank you for being part of our journey. Stay tuned for more invaluable insights in our next episode.